So One Piece chapter 1102 is officially out, and let's just say it for what it is. It was a hell of a chapter, emotional. It's fair to say now that Bartholomew Kuma could arguably be the best character in One Piece. Top 5, top 10, it's a lot. It has been a lot, and we finally come to the end of Kuma's flashback, so it seems. Welcome to the video, guys. My name is Romans, aka Roman Sensei. If you have not hit that subscribe button yet, please do so and join the crew. But yeah, let's just dive into this chapter because like I said already, it's right in our face. There's not a lot to break down. Let's just talk about it. Now, the name of the chapter is The Life of Kuma, and the chapter just starts off with Bonnie and her crew fighting with some Marines, and at that time, she has a bad rep, of course, because that's just all part of the plan. Now, rumor has it that they would only attack the kids and the elderly, but she doesn't even do that. It's her devil fruit powers that she has been using this whole time to go and trick the media. I don't know why, if it's just me or not, but I feel like Bonnie's personality is so D-Clan-like, you know? I don't know if that makes sense or not, but she is a child making boss moves. That is just crazy to me. But while her and her crew are busy doing this, what they are also doing is looking for Kuma. So it's basically like everything else was a side mission, when in reality, she's looking for Kuma. We see her asking people if she has seen a large man, and while that is going on, we see Kuma. He is in the area, but he's basically saying we cannot have our reunion. Look, I had a feeling that the moment we start getting more of Kuma's point of view on things, that's when it was just gonna start putting me in shambles, Oda, putting me in shambles. After that, I find it crazy how we do get a panel of Bonnie talking to her crew saying, while we're looking for Kuma, that would be also crazy if we find Nika as well. And she was joking, saying she can tell Kuma that she found Nika on some island or some other island. I thought that was very, very emotional. It just hurts even more now because we know their current situations, you know? So now when we're finally seeing everything that they have been through that got them to their current points, it's just like, what the hell? Why, Oda? Why? While she's sitting there joking with her crew saying that she would find Nika, that is when Luffy got his first bounty, the 30 million bounty. That's crazy. It just shows how the gears of fate were already turning. And the more that we see Kuma's flashbacks and Bonnie's as well, we get a better feel and understanding of how Luffy's destiny is pretty much just, yeah, it's not wavering. While we see Luffy's bounty, we do get to see the reaction from a lot of other key characters such as Dragon, Sabo, and while I'm bringing them up, we see Dragon ask Sabo who's in charge at Logtown, and Sabo says Smoker. So, you know, we know why Dragon was heading there. We know why he was going to Logtown. But at the same time, Dragon is not slick because remember, when he's asking Sabo this is when Sabo has none of his memories back. So he's not even letting Sabo know who he's going to check on. You know, he's going to go check on his brother, his son, and Sabo has no idea right there. I don't know, maybe I'm looking way into it, but I just think that's funny. Dragon think he's slick. Look at his face. Look at his face. But like I said a minute ago, we see Kuma's reaction as well, and that's obviously just, can you imagine Kuma right there when he's seeing that? Because he is seeing just the gears of fate churn. He's noticing a lot of traits towards Nika, and it's just really cool seeing it from this point of view. And on the same panel, pointing something out again, when I'm talking about Bonnie and her personality, this isn't more of D-Clanish, but it's just more of Kuma and Luffy behavior in a way. Like what you see right there, she's like, plunder whatever you want, rob them blind, and don't help a soul unless they really need it. Like, because, you know, they're undercover in a way. They're undercover pirates, if that makes sense. I guess that's the best way to word it. I love it. And you see later on in that panel, she adds the temporary jewel right there on her cheek because she wants her father to recognize her, not knowing that Kuma is literally aware of what she is doing. We have gotten so much of an understanding of Bonnie's character in the Egghead arc. It was unexpected because now, look, Jewelry Bonnie, that might be why she calls herself that, Jewelry Bonnie, because of the jewel in her cheek to go and help Kuma recognize her more. I don't know, I just love the understanding of her character and Kuma's because it's top tier. We see Kuma go back to Egghead with Vegapunk discussing more about Luffy and the Straw Hats, which seems to be about the Enies Lobby incident, but we also see in the panel that more pacifistas are getting produced right there. But that's also where Kuma told Vegapunk about Luffy being Dragon's son, and we see that Vegapunk had no idea about it. Now again, I've said in previous videos before that Vegapunk, I still can't trust him fully because he is a mad scientist. I feel like he will do whatever he needs to do, even if it means making you sacrifice your soul in order for him to proceed in the name of science, you know? There's a reason, you know, Dragon did not tell Vegapunk. I don't know, maybe again I'm looking into it, way into it, but maybe Dragon doesn't trust trust Vegapunk 100% either. Because let's not forget who Vegapunk's main employer is. But then the next few panels that we started getting in this chapter, that's when it really started getting me in my feelings, because I've talked about it before with other creators, with some of my friends who are One Piece fans. You know, I've said if we get hit with the POV, the point of view from Kuma's standpoint, with those pivotal moments such as Thriller Bark, Saba Odi, and all those other things that Kuma has been involved in, it's just gonna change the perspective completely on everything. And oh my gosh, these panels. We finally get the panel of Kuma at Thriller Bark when he arrives there. We see it from his point of view. We see the crew just tell him to go to hell. Kuma's loving that. That's Kuma's energy. Little do they know, you know, like this dude is a top revolutionary and he's been doing this. He's been taking people's pain and he's seeing people now throw his same energy back at him. Seeing that now from that point of view and reminiscing about that episode, it's just, we saw a little bit of that, you know, I did at least, but man, it's actually happening. That's what's crazy. We see the panel of the Ursa shock, like we see every main part of it go down. Finally get the dramatic, epic point of view from Kuma whenever he is talking to Zoro. Because I mean, nothing happened, but like I always say, nothing happened, but a lot happened. And I always thought this, even in the manga and in the anime, you know, at the end of Thriller Bark, when we see Kuma, after everything that happened, we see him talking to himself and he brings up Dragon. You know, he said he has exceptional friends, just as I expect of your son, Dragon. So when he said that then, that's when I started thinking, I was like, you know what? Kuma isn't the type of character that we think he is at that point in time. Man, it's just crazy. It's wild. The chapter then fast forwards to when the gears for the Summit War started churning. We see Kuma get a call about Ace's execution, and this is when things started getting even crazier. Kuma seems to set out to Saba Odi to go see Bonnie one last time, it seems, and there we get the same scene, but this time from a different point of view of Bonnie eating at Saba Odi. And you're telling me now, this whole time, Kuma was there looking out the window as he says, this is the last time I'll see your face. Become a truly indomitable pirate, Bonnie. A lot of you guys know by now, I'm a father. And yes, I have daughters. So all these chapters, Kuma, like, I'ma just say there's a reason why it was hard to make previous chapter videos, because this stuff is deep. He is saying his final goodbye to his daughter, and during this whole time she has no idea that he has been keeping track of her. But right after Kuma is saying his final goodbye, he hears someone say that a pirate turned out. But right after Kuma is saying his final goodbye to Bonnie, something happens. Kuma hears someone say that a pirate hit a celestial dragon, and while he's freaking out saying, oh my gosh, that's taboo, he finds out that who is it? It's Monkey D, Luffy, and the Straw Hat crew. The same crew that he keeps running into. The same crew that keeps moving the same way that he moved. The same crew that keeps moving in the same direction and doing things like, who? Nika behavior, running in the dragon's sun. Like, you have to remember now, this situation right here in Saba Odi is different than when he ran into them in Thriller Bark. These are situations that Kuma has been in on the bad side of things, you know, on the victim side. And he's seeing Luffy and his crew do this. And it's not the first time he's heard this, you know, he's in his lobby. So when he's seeing this now, for a fishman, I feel like right then and there, that's all literally, I mean, Kuma was already putting dots together. That's why he was looking into them so much. That's why he was keeping an eye on Luffy. But man, I think that solidified he had to do something. He needed to do something to protect them. And we get to see what Kuma decides to do very soon, because due to that incident, we know exactly what follows. But of course, this time we get to know what's going on in Kuma's head. We know that he was trying to figure out what he can do. He wants to be able to give back to them. He wants to be able to protect them. And with what he is witnessing right then and there, with what's going on with Kizaru, Sentomaru, and the pacifistas, he knows that they are not ready for the new world. So he did what he felt was best. And that's when we got hit with him basically just wiping out the Straw Hats. But of course, later on, we find out that he sent them away. And it just now brings everything together. Of course, we expected that after it happened. But seeing the point of view now on this stuff is just incredible. Because we have to remember, this is one of Luffy's darkest times. Bro was digging in the dirt. He was driving his face in the dirt. And while that's happening, Kuma's looking at him. And now we find out that Kuma's saying, no, you don't get it, man. You're gonna go and you're the one. You're him. You're Himothy. You're just not Himothy yet. You're on the way to be Himothy. You're him right now, but you get the you will be the man that will change the world. You will bring the new dawn. You will bring the change that I, Kuma, have been waiting for. Like, that's just, come on, man. Like, it's peak. It's peak. Now, correct me if I'm wrong with this. I still don't know if we know what Kuma said to Rayleigh. right? Because Kuma did say something to Rayleigh there at Sabaody. And I might be wrong, I might just forget, but I don't think we've been told what Kuma said to Rayleigh. You might find out soon though. Rayleigh holds a lot of secrets, but due to Kuma not obeying Saturn's orders, a self-destruct system was ordered to be put into Kuma. And look, Vegapunk does what he's been doing the past few chapters, a lot of bark, but no bite, because he'll always complain, he'll always whine and yell at Saturn like he's about to do something, and Saturn's just like, shut the hell up, what you trying to do? You a little scientist, marine biologist. That's how he talks to him, he talks down on him. But this might be a clue on how Egghead ends, because remember, it's supposed to end with a catastrophic incident, a humongous incident, something that will shock the whole One Piece world. And you know, I do have my thoughts and theories on it, and a self-destruct switch like this, that goes along with some theories that I've had. That might be something. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the self-destruct. Kuma's self-destruct could be clutch. What I also find interesting is Vegapunk brought up a split personality switch option for Kuma, but Saturn doesn't want any of that at all to be done to him. But we've seen Vegapunk do, you know, modifications and whatnot for Kuma that he's had to sneak behind Saturn's back to do. I don't know, Vegapunk is obviously walking on eggshells in his own way, but Saturn does make it known and emphasizes that he is a scientist as well. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the value of Vegapunk. Maybe we put too much value on Vegapunk stocks. Maybe the One Piece world government doesn't have Vegapunk up on a pedestal as much as we think. Like maybe they're just using Vegapunk so they understand that era's genius, you know? Maybe they've been through other Vegapunks before too. Because I mean, obviously they don't fully trust Vegapunk, and I mean, I wouldn't either. Like I said, he's a mad scientist, but kudos to Vegapunk for following Kuma's last wish. You know, Kuma did ask Vegapunk to order him to protect the Thousand Sunny until at least one of them returned. And I love that, because the moment I saw that for the first time, that's when I was like, you know what, yeah, Kuma's up to something. Like, what's going on with Kuma? Because you just don't sit there and wait. Even Frankie was like, what? So maybe Frankie will be the one, you know. I mean, he did bring it up to the Straw Hats before, if I'm correct. He did bring up that Kuma was waiting at the ship for them, and he didn't know why, you know, because Kuma didn't explain anything. He was like, all right, bet, I'm out. It's just crazy how everything is connected. Like, Kuma really is one of the heartbeats of the story, and that's just, yeah. And then we finally get to the deepest, darkest part of the chapter, which is Kuma's goodbye. As we see in the panel, Kuma starts reflecting with Vegapunk and says, so this is my life. I wonder how many people have been harmed or troubled by my actions. Like, when you just sit there and think about everything Kuma has done now since you have seen, you know, his life, for him to even ask that shows the type of character he is. He is the best character, one of the best characters we have seen, pure-hearted, and he's still asking that. So Vegapunk replies, troubled, living is nothing without trouble, wouldn't you say? It got deep. The conversation got really deep, and I do feel like these panels are some of the best panels we have been given in a long time. Just in a lot than I've seen. Like, it just has you just in a trance when you're reading it. It's just so engaging. And after Vegapunk and Kuma make a copy of his memories and put it into the invention that Vegapunk made for it, we then get hit with arguably, in my opinion, one of the best panels in One Piece. No questions asked. We get hit with a montage of Kuma and just his whole life, from his youth, you know, with Jenny, Dragon, Bonnie, to currently, and it's just no words. And I know sometimes I give Vegapunk a pretty hard time, but man, the panel after and the words he had for Kuma, I'm not gonna lie, I was already in shambles, I was already hurting, I was already broken, and Vegapunk just had to make it worse with Kuma, man. They had to fuse together to make us feel more emotional. He says, your life hasn't caused anyone harm or trouble, but your death will pain everyone who loves you. Listen well, Kuma, you are a hero too, not only for Bonnie, but for everyone you've ever met. Vegapunk over here dropping goated One Piece quotes, and he's been, involved finally for one arc? And to make things worse, to make things the absolute worst, we had to get hit with something just more sad, more emotional. Kuma's last words to Vegapunk were, just one last thing, I can't say how grateful I am. Thank you for saving Bonnie's life. If you see her again, could you tell her something for me? Please wish her a happy 10th birthday. Bruh, I've read the chapter multiple times already, and it still gets to me. That's why it took me a while to finally get this video out. It just, there are no words. I have no words. Now, it does seem like we're finally around the end of Kuma's flashback, and we're gonna get back to the current times in Egghead, but oh man, hell of a flashback, hell of a backstory. Like I said now, like, if you wanna talk about who are the best characters in One Piece, you have to say Kuma. Kuma went through too much. Oda was in his bag on this. I don't know, man. Oh man, but it was really nice to see a lot of memorable moments in the past of One Piece come back full circle and connect and really make sense, and it all had to do with Kuma and Bonnie. Now that's wild, and I know there's going to be a lot going on with other characters as well, because Kuma and Bonnie aren't the only characters that we can get POVs from in certain situations in the One Piece world. That's what I'm looking forward to as well. We still have the Gorosei, Emu, we still need to see their POVs, you know, whenever Luffy and the Straw Hats were out here accomplishing things. I would not mind seeing the Straw Hats hear more about Kuma and what he's done possibly. We know Frankie knows that, you know, Kuma was at the ship and he let them know, but they don't really know. But at the same time, you know, maybe the Straw Hats will go about not knowing everything Kuma's done, but still doing what they do, you know, and that's the main reason why Kuma got so caught onto them, because of their actions, you know, of what they were doing for people they didn't know. But yeah, guys, that's all for this chapter review. I had to get this video out. It was a hell of a chapter. Please leave in the comments below your thoughts on the chapter as well. There is a break next week for the manga, so don't expect any new chapter next week. And yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the crew if you haven't yet. I hope you guys are having a great holiday season, and until I see you guys next time, much love and God bless.